Hey family, welcome back to another episode of Let's Think About It with Dr. E. I'm your host, Dr. Erica Hendricks, and I want to thank you for joining me every week as we dive into deep and powerful and impactful conversations. But if you haven't, go right now and subscribe to my YouTube channel because you're only going to catch this content on YouTube. But I want to thank you in advance for subscribing. Go right now. So today, let's get into this topic of, I believe is going to be a topic that's worth digging into. This is a topic that many of us have played games growing up, board games, and we played different things. But there's a game called Mind Games, board game that was out, and I never played it, but it challenged the way we thought. It challenged your mind to really think about the cards and the answers and the responses. But we're not really going to talk about the mind game, but we're going to talk about the mind game of dodging the chaos traps of distractions in the Trump era. Now, we're not going to bash and we're not going to break down everything that he's doing because I'm not wasting my time on that. You go watch the news for that. But what I want to do is first define for you what I mean by traps. There are three traps that I think that often get us caught. These traps aren't just political. They creep into our personal lives, our relationships, and yes, even our faith. There's a trap of distraction. It's constant news cycling and pulling us into fear and anxiety. There's a trap of division. Family and friends and communities torn apart over ideologies. And there's the trap of apathy. Feeling so overwhelmed that we just check out. If I must be honest, I checked out after the election. I checked out on watching the news. I just couldn't do it. So I'm now trying to check back in on some level. Not really deep, but on some level. But these traps are designed to pull us away from our purpose, our peace, and our people. But here's the good news. We don't have to fall for them. A foundational scripture that I want to give to you is Romans 12:2. And it says, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then when you're able to test and approve what God's will is, his good and pleasing and perfect will. We got to ground ourselves in what God says to us concerning this. I know some of you are saying, but I didn't tune in today to get the scripture. Well, you might not have tuned in, but I think if you stay tuned in, you're going to find today that this episode is not really me going off on a tangent about Trump. I want you to avoid the traps of getting caught up in all the chaos behind what is happening in our political and economic world. It's going to spill over into our relationships, that spills over into our places of worship. But let's be honest, everything in the world affects how we move. It affects what we do. So we can't be void of not understanding the times that we're living in, but we've got to understand that I am in this world, but I'm not going to let what's happening around me to affect me. Now, I got to be wise in what I do. I got to be wise in what I say, but I'm not going to fall prey to what they say is happening because I am not a person who moves by fear. I sit back and I watch. I'm not a quick reactor because when you're reacting without thinking, it causes things to get worse. So the scripture reminds us that while the world, or let's say this mentality that we're in right now, may pull us in one direction, we are called to renew our minds daily, to rise above the noise, and to conform to patterns, not to conform to patterns of fear, hate, and division. You see where I'm going? Let's not get caught up in traps because of everything that's going on, that fear and hate and division leads and drives your everyday life. When you're grappled by fear, and then that fear turns into hate, and then the hate turns into division, you are falling right into their hands. Don't live this life fearful about what you see on the news. Don't live your life hating another race or nationality because of what they say. If in fact your best friend is white or Asian or Latino or other ethnicity, don't stop being friends because what the news is saying. Did you build your relationship with them based on what the news says? No. So you got to live your life not in a bubble but in a understanding that we have more things in common than we do disalike. We agree more than we disalike, in other words. So sometimes we don't always agree on the same thing, but I don't have to fall out of relationship with you because we disagree. And the world will tell you, and the things go around, oh, you can't be friends with them because they didn't vote like you. They didn't look like you. The Kendrick Lamar song, they not like us. Whatever it is, you cannot base your relationship on that. Because you didn't get into relationship based on the color of their skin, or did you? Did you get in a relationship because of you were raised different than them? Doesn't matter how you were raised. You're grown now, or you're adult now. You can now make decisions in sound mind and body. Learn to understand that life is not always going to go in the direction that you think that it should. Forrest Gump said in his movie, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And that's a true statement to some degree. You open a box of chocolate, you don't know what it is, especially if it's a box that just doesn't have a name on it, and you get a gift, and it's given to you. You have to taste the chocolate in the box to see which ones you like and dislike. So how do we stay locked in and not allow a fear and doubt to overtake us? Number one, you got to guard your mind. Limit your media intake, okay? Not every headline deserves your energy. Practice mindfulness, meditation, and daily devotion to reset. Let me say that again. Practice mindfulness, meditation, and daily devotion to reset. Don't allow the news to guard how you think. Number two, stay rooted in your community. Isolation breeds negativity. Connect with people who uplift and challenge you spiritually and intellectually. The news can be designed to keep you isolated because you don't want to say, I've heard people say, well, I don't want to find myself in a hard conversation. Well, I learn from hard conversations. I grow from hard conversations. So when you isolate yourself from those intellectual and spiritual conversations that challenge your very thinking, you limit your contact with people intellectually. But they may not always agree. You might not agree on the same concept or the same idea. But there's something that we can learn from everybody, even if we don't care from them that much. You can learn something from somebody. Number three, engage with purpose. We're talking about how to stay locked in. Number one, guard your mind. Number two, stay rooted in your community. Number three, engage with purpose. It's okay to be informed, but be intentional. Don't scroll aimlessly, seeking understanding and not just information. I know some people just scroll through people's timelines and pages, and you get in the comment section because you want to find yourself in an argumentative state, or you want to debate, or you want to find something to talk about with your friends, and then you find yourself chasing a rabbit and you never get to the end of that trail. Some things are not worth your attention. It's not worth your conversation. Do you know how many comment sections I just want to go in and say, please just stop it? Do you know how foolish you look? But I realize that's their page. They have freedom of speech. They can post whatever they want to post. But sometimes don't allow your ignorance to take over because you feel that you're right. Sometimes they can lead you down a hole that you're not prepared for. Number four, respond, don't react. Before you post that angry comment, engage in a heated debate, pause and ask yourself, is it worth your peace? Is it aligned with your purpose? If you find yourself saying yes to either one of those questions, keep scrolling. Don't comment. Don't lose your peace over a post. Do not lose your peace of mind over a post on somebody's page. It's not worth it. Number five, practice spiritual discipline. Prayer isn't just for crises. Make it a daily habit. Let your faith be your fiber, not your fallback. Let me say that again. Let your faith be your fiber and not your fallback. So here's the question I want to ask. What are you locked into? So I just talked about the 5 things, how to stay locked in. But now begin to peruse your mind and your thinking and begin to think about your environment, begin to think about what are you locked into? Are you locked into chaos? Or are you locked into your calling or your purpose? Challenge yourself this week and ask yourself to identify your own traps. Identify the things that have kept you bound, that's kept you in this hamster of a circle that you can see yourself running and you're never getting anywhere. What things have trapped you emotionally? What things have trapped you in your mind? What are you trapped spiritually by that you can't get out of? You saying, Dr. Erica, there could be some spiritual traps? Absolutely. Spiritually, you can be so connected to somebody that's toxic. And they're saying that they know who God is and they have a relationship, but really their very existence is toxic. They're not going in the same place. Find yourself in a place of safety, not in a place of chaos. There are some places of churches that you attend that are really not safe for you. And you went there out of tradition. You went there because you know somebody. But ask yourself the question, is that a safe place for you? Is it safe for your peace of mind? Every church is not for everybody. Every place of worship is not for everybody. So don't go to a place because it's the going place of worship right now. It's the hot spot. It's the place that everybody's going. Find you a place of worship that meets your needs, that ministers to where you are. They can minister to your family. They can minister to your mind, body, and soul. Just because that's where your best friend goes, it may not be the place for you. Sometimes it's about finding, I say, that even keel place, that place of zen, that place of peace, that place of rest, that place that you find that you and God dwell in that place, that you realize, God, this is it. I know I've been in a place like, this feels good in here. I feel like I should have been here a long time ago. And when I realize this is where I'm at, then I relax. And I realize this is the place for me. So challenge yourself. What is your distraction? What's bringing you division? What's bringing you apathy? And take an intentional step and break free from it. And whatever those things is calling you distraction, chaos, division, and apathy, make an intentional step and break free. Write it down, speak over it, pray on it, whatever you got to do. If it's causing you that much hell in your life that you can't sleep at night, you can't eat, you can't be around people, you feel like all you want to do is isolate, then that thing is not healthy. Don't fall prey in traps to those things that are toxic to your own spiritual being. Then you can't find yourself even praying. Because sometimes the enemy's job is to kill you and pull you by yourself. It's to kill, steal, and destroy. That is his job. But Jesus said, I come that you may have life and life more abundantly. The life that you and I are living is not a life of chaos, but it should be a life of peace. Don't you fall for the trap of the chaoses, of the trap of distraction, the trap of division, or the trap of apathy. Because when you fall for those traps, you find that life is not what it is because you're focusing on the traps and the chaos. But when you find yourself practicing those things that intentionally you break yourself free from, then you find yourself having a freedom that you didn't have before. Because you realize I'm not operating on those things over here. But now I found a new place that I can stand in peace with myself, peace in my mind, and peace in my environment. See, it's about you creating a space that nobody else can come in and do your space. My house is my place of peace. And I'm not letting any and everybody come in my house and disturb my peace. I have to sleep there. I got to relax in my house. So if you're not for me, excuse me, you're not coming to my house. I'll meet you in a public space. We can talk in that public space, but I'm not going to have you come in my personal space. The problem with some of you let too many people into your private space. And that private space has now become a nightmare for you. Might I add, some of you need to cleanse that space and say, now God, come in here And I invite your presence to clean my space, because God, I don't want to be tormented by conversations in my head and in this space because I let the wrong person in. I thought they were for me, but really they were all against me. We've all done it. We've all been in covenant relationship with somebody who we thought was for us, and they really were not. So I don't want you to fall prey to what is going around you, but I don't want you to realize that somebody and someone needs you to stay locked in. Somebody is counting on you to stay locked in. Somebody needs to look at your page. Somebody needs to be connected to your conversation. They're counting on you to stay locked in, because they're not there yet. They've not reached that place of maturity to stay locked in just yet. So I need for you to stay locked in and don't fall prey to all the chaos and the negativity that's going in. Because whatever you find yourself doing in this season, if you don't stay locked in and stay focused, you'll find yourself falling apart. And we don't have time to fall apart. We've got to stay locked in and realize something, that the life that you and I now live, God created us for something much bigger than what we can see right now. You might not can see it. You might not can even perceive it or even think about it. God, where are you taking me? But if you stay locked into Jesus, I promise you, his plans are much greater than where you are right now. I don't care what's going on in the news. I don't care what they said is going to happen. Trust God for your next move, because your next idea may be your biggest break of your life. Stay locked into him and trust the process. I promise you, there's something else greater on the other side of that trap or chaos that you find yourself connected to. God has a plan for your life. Trust him. Stay focused, stay locked in, and more than anything, stay blessed in the season. I promise you, there is a plan much bigger that God has for your life. I'm Dr. Erica Hendricks. Stay focused. Let's think about it. I'll see you next time. But go right now and subscribe so you can get the latest content on our podcast drop. Have a great day.